Hey guys, you're watching an episode of Blacklist Builds. In today's episode, we're going to install Demonize into this B8.5 S5. So the first step you have to do is remove this shroud. There should be 4 pins that hold the shroud in place. In order to remove this pin, all you have to do is grab some sort of cylindrical object and just press down, and it will unlock the pin for you to pull out with a pry tool. So next one, just pull off. So much easier than the B8 in terms of removal. And you remove the pins. Okay, so for the B8.5, all you do is you lift up. Lift straight up, and it'll unclip. So next up you have to do is remove the headlight. So this is the first one. This is the second one. Third one is down here where my finger is. And the fourth one is right there. So this one has an aftermarket ECS intake, so there's a little bit more space in this general area. However, the stock setup has a box sitting right here, so it's a little bit more restricted in terms of working space, but you'll still be able to reach those 2 screws down there. You just need a little bit of finesse and possibly a magnet so you don't drop. If you drop a screw, you can pick it up afterwards. In addition to the 4 screws, you have to loosen this screw right here. That way the headlight can just move forward and away from the car. So a few tricks while taking out your headlight. There's a tube that connects right to the headlight. I think this is a drainage tube. This is the other end of it. So unplug that so the headlight can disconnect. And you want to turn it counterclockwise as you pull it out, so there's enough space for the headlight to actually come out. Okay, so once you take out the bulb, you have to remove the 4 Torx screws at each of the corners, and then the projector should pop out far enough for you to just pull it back and slide the LED strip into it. So once you have the projector pulled off after taking off the 4 screws, you slip in the LED strip. So if you see that gap right there, which I've highlighted, if you insert the LED strip, you just need to squeeze it in there and sort of compress the strip so the diameter is a little bit smaller and fits through. If you see directly ahead, you can see the lens, and the LED strip is actually in that gap right now. What I'm going to do is place it around the edge of the projector housing so it sits there, and I'm going to hit it with a little bit of glue so it doesn't move out of place once I position it. So if you look inside the projector housing, directly in the middle of the frame there's the LED strip, and I've positioned it so it's sitting right above the lens. There's like a little ring that goes around the lens and it holds it in place, so the LED strip actually sits around that. So for the adhesive, I'm using GO2 gel. This is Loctite. Temperatures can go up to 248, it says on the packaging, so this should be plenty good for the LED strip to be glued on. So where my finger is, I added a bead of glue, a little bit of the Loctite, so now when we put everything together, the LED strip is not going to move out of place. So next step would be to remove this top shroud that covers the positive terminal. So you remove this shroud by removing 2 of these screws. You can just turn by hand. And now you can just pull it off. Now with the space behind the false firewall exposed, so you remove this cover and it exposes the positive terminal. Over here, what we're going to do is we're going to tap into the power by taking off one of the nuts and putting on the terminal on the positive. This is the relay module, whatever you want to call it, that you get with your Demonize. So the 2 white ends are the plugs that go into the Demonize. I've soldered an extension to the positive lead, so this can go to the positive terminal behind the false firewall. I'm going to take the negative point and just put it on the body of the car, so that way I don't have to extend it all the way out. Basically, in order to begin, you want to heat up the wire, and then you want to touch the lead to it. You don't want to actually heat up the lead and drop it onto there. So what I do is I keep it touching, right? Mm-hmm. And then you put a little bit of solder on there so it makes a good connection, right? And now the entire wire is going to heat up, and you see that all melting on there?
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, that's the cleanest way to do a solder job. So now all that
It's going to harden it, and it's going to pretty much make a good
connection. Yeah. So that's how you solder. It's real simple. So the install is complete. Everything is tucked away. I tucked all the wires underneath this shroud. Wraps around. Relay is like right next to the radiator underneath the intake. Wraps around, goes underneath this fender, and then goes underneath this shroud right to the positive terminal. There's many different functions you can use for these LEDs. You can see it on my previous video where I show you the functions on the controller. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe down below for more videos. And lastly, I will see you guys on the next episode.